Hi, I'm here to speak about a movement to change the food system of the United States. I was born in Belarus, where my family cooked every night and we ate together, and we had a plot where we grew fruits and vegetables. And when 15 years ago I moved to Italy, I worked for Slow Food International for many years, and I was trying to help the European countries in Eastern Europe to save the foods and the skills they have, and also to value them, because very often they were forgotten as people were looking at the Western diet as a model. And 4 years ago, when Food Day launched in the United States, I moved to Washington, D.C. to run the campaign, because I thought that if the American food system will change just a little bit, it may have a huge impact on the rest of the world. So Food Day was created by the Center for Science in the Public Interest, based in Washington, D.C., and it's a campaign to improve the American food system. It's celebrated every year on October 24th around the country at thousands of events and initiatives. So why do we need a day like that? We know that food should be healthy, affordable, and produced with care for the animals, environment, and people who serve, produce, and harvest it. But unfortunately, very often, the food system has problems and puts this ideal out of reach. Too much of the food that we eat makes more harm than good. It harms our health, environment, animals, and also has bad impact on the farm workers. And so let's say, for example, in the United States, while in the world there is 1 billion people who still go to bed hungry, there are 1.5 billion people who are overweight or obese. And in the United States, 2 out of 3 adults are overweight or obese, and 1 out of 3 children and adolescents. And unfortunately, in Italy, the number is even higher for children. 36% of boys and 34% of girls are considered overweight or obese. And at the same time, the Mediterranean diet is considered to be out of the healthiest in the world. And you would think, like, with America's resources, there is no excuse to hunger, but that's not true. Almost 1/6 of the population, close to 50 million people, don't have enough food access and are considered food insecure or near hunger. And that means that they have to rely on the food assistance from the government to eat. And last year, 1 out of 5 children in the US had to rely on this food assistance that is called food stamps. And so why we have to have this situation where hunger, obesity, animal welfare, farm worker justice, and environment go hand in hand and contribute to this global food system that is not fair? And why is it a problem in the United States? The United States is famous for its bad diet and for getting people sick. Its food system contributes to obesity, diabetes, heart diseases, environmental degradation, and unfair condition for the farm workers and food workers, and also cruel treatment of animals. And let's see at the health facts, for example. The American diet is killing people slowly. Too many people consume too much saturated fats from farm-raised corn-fed beef, too much sugar from soda and sugary drinks, and too much salt from restaurant and processed meals. And on average, boys eat 27 teaspoons of added sugar a day, and girls eat 20 teaspoons of added sugar a day. And the industry spends about $2 billion to market unhealthy food to teens and children, while their school system dedicates only 3.4 hours of food and nutrition education a year in the elementary schools. And while food that is eaten, marketed, and produced is not sustainable, what happens with the environment? The environment also contributes to a lot of problems. For example, agricultural system, bigger scale practices contribute to 70% of their pollution in the American rivers. 40 calories of fossil fuel go to produce 1 calorie worth of beef protein. And to produce 1 kilo of beef in the big factory farms with corn-fed cows, 15,000 liters of water are required. Their production of animals requires huge amounts of resources in terms of feed and energy to produce the feed and to transport it. But at the same time, the animals live in very, very cruel conditions. One chicken, lay hen, spends all its life in an area confined to as big as a sheet of paper. And their animals are treated in a cruel way. In 8 states, there are laws that make it illegal for someone who works at a factory farm or for someone who knows about a factory farm that treats its animal in a cruel way to tell about it and to speak about it. So these laws practically criminalize telling the truth about the conditions, how the animals are kept, and keep a secret what is going on in the farms. There is also a big problem with the antibiotics use that leads to antibiotics-resistant diseases. 80% of all antibiotics in the US are used in the animal feed to treat animals, in part to prevent the diseases in the overcrowded factory farms. And only 20% of their antibiotics are used for the human use. And there is another issue that is getting more and more attention, and it's their justice for food chain workers, for farm workers, for food service workers. In the US, 1/6 of their workforce, about 20 million people, work in the food production chain. That means that they produce, serve, process, or sell, or serve food. And 90% of the restaurant workers don't have even single paid sick day. That means that 2/3 of them report that they serve or cook food while they're sick. And their minimum wage for tipped workers, the workers who receive tips, is only $2.13, and it has been like that for 23 years. And so you can see that the system definitely doesn't work. And what can we do to change it? Very often, all these issues are seen as separate issues, with groups focusing very narrowly on their work, with their missions and with their projects, and missing how they can collaborate together. But it would be really wonderful to have the groups cross-pollinate their agendas, share their actions and missions, and work together to make faster progress in all these issues. For example, nutrition advocates should work with environmentalists, animal welfare groups should work with anti-hunger advocates, and all these groups can, even if they don't see eye to eye on every issue, they can build on each other's strength and try to collaborate together more. So how we can do that? What's the way to create something that will be a unifying action? 4 years ago, Center for Science in the Public Interest, a nonprofit group based in Washington, D.C., created Food Day. Food Day is America's campaign to improve its food system. It's a grassroots action that brings together different people from different walks of life, policymakers, mayors, students, food bloggers, busy moms, school teachers, to come together on one day of action and try to raise awareness about the country's food problems, attract attention to its food policies, and also try to change the American diet. And there are many ways how these people can benefit each other. The Center for Science and the Public Interest is mostly known for its work within the health silo. It is recognized for the work on food labeling, on improving food safety and school lunch programs. And for many years, the group has been working within its health silo. But because reforming the food system is such a huge task, we need all to come together and collaborate. And so that's where Food Day came, that permits people to tie in all their agendas and different issues that are connected with food. And Food Day is a celebration of the American food system when it works. And it also tries to fix it when it's broken. Last year around the country, 8,000 events took place in all 50 states. And events really vary in type. It can be a small celebration in a school or at home, a big rally in a city park, or even a food policy discussion at a campus, or a protest to increase the wages of fast food restaurant workers. This is a picture from their first food day in 2011 from the Times Square, where many food movement leaders from the city came together for a healthy lunch supported by the City of New York that offered screens in Times Square to project Food Day's logo and poster. And the mayor of New York gave out apples at their subway station in Queens. For several years, New York has been organizing the Big Apple Crunch, where 1 million New Yorkers eat a local apple on the same day to break the world record for the most number of people eating an apple on the same day. And the event became so popular that it spread around the country with hundreds of thousands of people celebrating around the United States. There are many more other activities. For example, schools celebrate with taste tests, workshops, lessons, and using Food Day curriculum. There are hospitals that serve special meal with meats raised without antibiotics. There are many cities that put together public events. Here you see a picture from Savannah. Savannah in Georgia has an annual Food Day celebration that brings together about 15,000 people, and Chicago every year organizes a very big event downtown. Food Day is very prominent online. The Twitter conference on Food Day itself on October 24th brought together almost 14 million unique users. So the Food Day hashtag had the possibility to be seen by 14 million unique users. And also campuses participate in Food Day. 300 campuses celebrate with policy debates, with a week long of activities, and with different film screenings. And so what we thought when we launched Food Day is that we didn't know if it will be a success, because there are so many people around the country who are busy. And they have their own lives, they have their own work, and we didn't know if they will have time and also money to organize an event that we came to them and asked them to do. But we really knew that there are so many people around the United States who care deeply about the American food system. Public health officials, students, parents who really want to change how the people eat, improve the diets, and improve the country's food policy. And all of them wanted their local event, however modest it is, to be part of something bigger, of something national, that can make a bigger change. And so the founder of Food Day, Michael Jacobson from the Center for Science in the Public Interest, started with contacting several dozens of the leaders of diverse areas of the food world, and everyone was very interested. We continued the work by reaching out to national partners. We spoke with the Farmers Market Coalition, with the National Farm to School Network, with the American Public Health Association, and everyone said that they wanted to participate in some way. And then afterwards, we traveled around the country. We went to Dallas, we went to San Francisco, Louisiana, New Orleans, Austin, Boston, and we participated in community meetings where we tried to make sure that a cross-sector of people are present, that there are people working on health issues, mayor's offices, schools, food banks, students, and activists. And then a miracle happened. People started to share their stories. We shared ideas and prepared a lot of materials that organizers could use, like a guide for students, a guide for school, a guide for teachers, a school curriculum, media guide, and much more, infographics. And during the first year, there were 2,300 events, and every year Food Day grows. So what I want to say with this example is that American food system has its unique challenges, but the problems of hunger, obesity, food access, injustice for food and farm workers are part of the global food system. And so in Europe or in Italy, we can use these principles, the principles of Food Day, to collaborate together and create a positive change. Imagine, for example, if in Italy slow food will work on health, and in addition to being good, clean, and fair, it will also work on a healthy aspect and join the fight against obesity. Or that their agricultural policy in the European Union will subsidize the producers that are making healthy foods, in this way making healthy foods more affordable, and that there will be a tax break for the hospitals for serving nutritious and better meals for the patients. And so what groups like Food Day, Slow Food, and others can do? I think that the solution is getting out of our silos, being very open-minded, cross-pollinating ideas, sharing, and working together to achieve our goals. Thank you.